My next news is this new.
You not a little youth, why you mess up the old? Every day you shoot, but your baby lack food. Cops throw you down, but there's nothing you a do. Slap you in the face and rough you out too. Make you sleep on stone until you turn blue. You're shooting at the hood while your man got no clue. Them got many wars if you got something to prove. There is no old gunman, them all lost them Jews. Them got many warnings, but they all refuse.
Big man, big man, big man.
Big man acting like little children, hanging out the bottle and them shooting their brethren. Big man acting like little children, smoke them ganja and them shooting them brother. Big man acting like little children, smoke them coke and them man lose control. Big man, big man. On the street you no speak, but at home your wife you beat. In the neighborhood you steal, that's the kind of life you lead. What me I say is you wish you was she. Banks on the corner, but you scared to see.
Big man, big man, big man.
Big man acting like little children, hanging at the bar and them shooting them bridges. Big man acting like little children, smoke them ganja and them shooting them brother. Big man acting like little children, smoke them coke and them all lose control. Bad man a rob old woman, bad man a chanda bout man. If him rob him a rob a gun. Big man a chan Babylon, no man. Big man, big man, big man.
Big
DJ DJALIS with my news of the day. My news of the day. On March 9, 2026 from the Netherlands. On OKANO TV NL. My first report. This news report highlights the renewed U.S. military involvement in Iraq amid the ongoing conflict with Iran. While much of the focus of the current Middle East war has been on direct U.S. and Israeli strikes in Iran, the fighting has spilled over into Iraq, where Iranian-backed militia groups have once again become a significant threat to American personnel and facilities. These militias, which previously fought U.S. forces during the occupation of Iraq following the 2003 invasion, have resumed attacks in support of Tehran, demonstrating the continued strategic importance of Iraq in the regional conflict. Since the start of the war, Iran-aligned militias in Iraq have carried out dozens of small-scale drone and rocket attacks. Targets have included U.S. military bases, consulates in northern Iraq, and a State Department facility at Baghdad International Airport. On Saturday, rockets targeted the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, an act Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani condemned as a terrorist act by rogue groups. These incidents illustrate the militia's intent to challenge American influence in Iraq while signaling loyalty to Iran. In response, the U.S. has launched airstrikes and other military operations against militia positions in Iraq. Captain Tim Hawkins, a spokesman for U.S. Central Command, confirmed that operations are being conducted under the broader Operation Epic Fury campaign, which focuses on Iran. He emphasized that these actions are defensive, aimed at protecting U.S. troops from attacks by Iran-backed groups, but they represent a significant shift for the Pentagon, which had sought to disengage from Iraq after years of costly occupation. Several notable strikes have already occurred. Airstrikes targeted militia strongholds near Jerf al-Sakar, south of Baghdad, and Al-Qaim, along the Iraq-Syria border locations used by Iranian-backed militias to store weapons and launch attacks. On March 4th, a strike in Babel killed Abu Hassan al-Farhi, a long-standing commander of Kataib Hezbollah, along with another militia member. Kataib Hezbollah, the U.S.-designated terrorist group, acknowledged Farhi's death, noting he had led the group for more than 2 decades. Analysts suggest that the U.S. aims to decapitate the Iranian-backed infrastructure in Iraq while opening a second front against Iran. Iraqi militias have historical roots in the post-invasion period. They emerged initially to defend Shiite areas against Sunni militants but also opposed U.S. forces, which they viewed as occupiers. Iran supported many of these groups with weapons, including anti-armor explosives that inflicted heavy casualties on U.S. troops during the height of the occupation. The militias later played a key role in combating the Islamic State alongside U.S. and Iraqi forces, and some remain formally integrated into Iraq's security apparatus, though others operate clandestinely under alternative names to avoid U.S. targeting. Since the end of the war against ISIS, powerful Shiite militias such as Kataib Hezbollah and Asayb al-Haq have gained substantial influence within the Iraqi government. Their alignment with Tehran has made them key players in the spillover of the Iran war into Iraq. Although most recent militia attacks have caused limited damage, analysts warn that sustained U.S. strikes could escalate the conflict, aggravate sectarian tensions, and disrupt Iraq's economy, particularly its oil exports. Iraqi officials have expressed concern over the increased violence, but have been cautious in publicly attributing attacks to the U.S., even as private assessments suggest American responsibility. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad issued warnings about threats to U.S. citizens, infrastructure, and critical facilities, noting that hotels and other areas frequented by foreigners have been targeted. The report also notes a recent firefight near Najaf involving Iraqi troops and unidentified forces. One Iraqi soldier was killed and several others wounded. Iraqi officials protested the incident, suggesting it undermined trust between Iraq and the U.S.-led coalition, although Central Command stated there was no indication of U.S. involvement. This incident underscores the complexity of operating in a country where multiple armed groups, some aligned with Iran, others operating independently, create a volatile and unpredictable environment. Overall, the report illustrates that Iraq is once again becoming a battleground for U.S. forces, even as the primary conflict continues in Iran. The renewed attacks by Iranian-backed militias, U.S. retaliatory strikes, and the historical legacy of insurgency highlight Iraq's strategic significance in the region. The situation also underscores the potential for broader regional escalation, as militia activity, sectarian pressures, and economic disruption threaten to destabilize a country that had shown signs of recovery. My next news is, this news report discusses statements made by United States President Donald Trump about the ongoing conflict with Iran. In the report, Trump explained that the decision about when and how the war with Iran will end will not be made by the United States alone. Instead, he said that the decision will be a mutual one made together with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. His comments show that the United States and Israel are closely coordinating their positions regarding the conflict. According to the report, Trump spoke by phone with the Times of Israel and shared his views about the situation. During the conversation, he explained that Netanyahu will have input in the discussions about how the conflict could be resolved. This means that the Israeli leader will play a role in shaping the strategy for ending the war. Trump's remarks suggest that the United States values Israel's perspective and wants to take its allies' concerns and interests into account before making any final decisions. Trump stated that he and Netanyahu have already been in communication about the conflict. He indicated that the two leaders have been talking about different possibilities, and that the situation is still being considered carefully. When asked about the timing of a possible decision to end the war, Trump said that he would make that decision at the right time. He also emphasized that everything will be taken into account before such a decision is made. The phrase mutual decision is important in this context because it shows that Trump views the situation as something that requires cooperation between the United States and Israel. In international conflicts, allies often coordinate their policies and actions to ensure that their strategies are aligned. Trump's statement suggests that this is exactly what is happening in the case of the conflict with Iran. The relationship between the United States and Israel has long been a close political and military partnership. Because of this relationship, decisions related to security issues in the Middle East often involve discussions between leaders of the two countries. Trump's comments reflect that ongoing cooperation. By saying that the decision will be mutual, he signals that Israel's views will be considered when determining the next steps in the conflict. Another important aspect of Trump's statement is his emphasis on timing. Rather than announcing an immediate plan to end the war, he made it clear that the situation is still being evaluated. Conflicts between countries often involve complex military, political, and diplomatic considerations. Leaders must think about the possible consequences of their decisions, including how those decisions could affect regional stability, international relations, and the safety of civilians and soldiers. Trump's remarks suggest that the United States is still analyzing the situation before taking a final position on how the conflict should end. By saying that he will decide at the right time, he indicates that more discussions and evaluations are likely taking place behind the scenes. This approach allows leaders to gather information, consult advisors, and coordinate with allies before making major decisions. The report also highlights how communication between leaders plays a role in international politics. Conversations between heads of government are an important way for countries to share information, discuss strategies, and attempt to coordinate their responses to global events. In this case, the phone conversation mentioned in the report shows that Trump and Netanyahu are maintaining direct communication while the conflict continues. Overall, the news report presents Trump's comments as an indication that the United States and Israel are working together when considering how to end the conflict with Iran. Trump's use of the phrase mutual decision suggests that the process will involve cooperation, consultation, and shared decision-making between the two leaders. In conclusion, the report emphasizes three main points. First, Trump stated that the decision to end the war with Iran will be made jointly with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Second, the two leaders are already in communication and discussing the situation. Third, Trump said he will make a final decision at the appropriate time after considering all relevant factors. These statements reflect the close relationship between the United States and Israel and highlight how international conflicts often involve coordination between allied nations. My next report is: this news report describes the rapidly escalating war involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. The conflict had entered its ninth day, with growing casualties, rising tensions in the region, and increasing fears that the war could become much larger. At the same time, Iran announced an important political decision regarding its leadership, which could shape the country's strategy in the conflict moving forward. According to the report, Iran's clerical leadership body selected Mojtaba Khamenei as the next supreme leader of the country. Mojtaba Khamenei is the son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who had been Iran's supreme leader for many years. The elder Khamenei was killed on the first day of the attacks carried out by the United States and Israel against Iran. His death created a sudden leadership vacuum in the country, making the selection of a successor a critical decision for Iran's political and military future. Mojtaba Khamenei is a 56-year-old Shiite cleric. Although he has never held an official government position, he has long been considered an influential figure behind the scenes within his father's inner circle. Because of his close connection to the former leader and his influence within Iran's political and religious establishment, the clerical council ultimately chose him as the new supreme leader. As supreme leader, he will have enormous authority, including control over Iran's military strategy and influence over the powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which plays a major role in the country's security and military operations. The decision was controversial internationally. President Donald Trump had previously said that Mojtaba Khamenei would be an unacceptable choice to replace his father. Despite those objections, Iranian authorities proceeded with the selection. The White House did not immediately issue an official response after the announcement. At the same time, the war itself continued to intensify. The United States confirmed that a 7th American service member had died as a result of injuries sustained earlier in the conflict. The soldier had been wounded during Iran's initial attacks on American allies and military facilities across the region. Those attacks had been launched in response to earlier strikes carried out by the United States and Israel. In addition to the 7 U.S. service members killed in the war, another National Guard soldier died while deployed in Kuwait. Military officials said that death was related to a health incident, and that the cause was still being reviewed. Other casualties were also reported throughout the region. Israel announced that 2 of its soldiers were killed during fighting in southern Lebanon, marking the first Israeli military deaths since the start of the war. In Saudi Arabia, 2 civilians were killed and 12 others were wounded when a military projectile struck a residential neighborhood in the city of Al-Qarj. The total number of deaths in Iran itself has been difficult to determine. However, Iran's ambassador to the United Nations estimated that more than 1,300 people had already been killed. Many of these casualties were civilians caught in the bombing campaigns and military strikes occurring across the country. President Donald Trump also addressed the possibility of sending American ground troops into Iran. While speaking with reporters aboard Air Force One, he did not rule out the option. Trump said that such a move could possibly happen if the situation required it, although he emphasized that there would have to be a very strong reason to justify deploying troops on the ground. Trump also suggested that if American ground forces entered Iran, the military response would be extremely powerful. He said that Iran's forces would be heavily damaged and would struggle to continue fighting on the ground. Meanwhile, Iranian officials rejected calls for a ceasefire. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, stated that the country was prepared to continue fighting despite the heavy losses it had suffered. He argued that the United States and Israel would first need to explain why they began the military campaign and guarantee that the war would end permanently before Iran would consider stopping the fighting. Araghchi also rejected the idea that foreign governments should have any influence over Iran's leadership decisions. He stated that choosing the country's leader is strictly the responsibility of the Iranian people, and that outside interference would not be accepted. The conflict has also had major economic consequences, particularly in global energy markets. Oil prices rose above $100 per barrel as investors worried that the fighting could disrupt oil production and transportation throughout the Middle East. Iranian officials warned that if the war continues, it could seriously damage the ability to produce or sell oil, which would affect not only Iran but also the global economy. Military attacks during the conflict have also targeted critical infrastructure. In Tehran, Israeli strikes hit an oil storage facility, sending large clouds of black smoke into the sky and raising concerns about toxic air pollution. At the same time, desalination plants, which are vital for producing drinking water in the dry Gulf region, were also attacked on both sides of the conflict. The war has also caused widespread displacement of civilians. Lebanon reported that more than 500,000 people have been forced to leave their homes because of the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah forces. International leaders have begun calling for an end to the violence. French President Emmanuel Macron spoke with Iran's president and urged him to stop the strikes and work toward reducing tensions. Religious leaders have also expressed concern about the conflict. Pope Leo XIV warned that the fighting could spread across the region and asked people around the world to pray for peace and for an end to the bombing. Overall, the report describes a conflict that is becoming increasingly dangerous and complex, with rising casualties, growing economic consequences, and the possibility of further military escalation. Many observers fear that the war could continue for a long time unless diplomatic efforts succeed in bringing the fighting to an end. My next news is, this news report highlights growing fears for American detainees in Iran amid escalating U.S.-Israeli airstrikes. At least 4 U.S. nationals, including journalist Reza Valazadeh and 70-year-old Cameron Hekmaty, have been held in Tehran's Evin prison for an extended period. Since the airstrikes began, lawyers and advocacy groups have reported that they have been unable to contact these detainees or their families, raising serious concerns about their safety. The ongoing conflict and nearby explosions have intensified fears that the prisoners could face harm or be used as political leverage. Evin prison has a long history of being vulnerable during military conflicts. Past attacks, including an Israeli strike in June 2025 that killed at least 71 people according to Iranian authorities, demonstrate the facility's exposure to external threats. In addition to these risks, detainees may face reprisals from prison guards or fellow inmates, particularly in the case of Hekmaty, who is Jewish. Experts have noted that the prison's overcrowding, poor sanitation, and limited medical care further exacerbate the danger for those held inside. Advocates and officials have stressed the heightened risk these detainees face as a direct result of the intensified military action. British family members of another inmate reported blasts near the prison that shattered windows, underscoring the immediate physical peril. Former FBI official Kieran Ramsey highlighted that prisoners in Evin face a dual threat: the risk of direct injury from attacks and the potential for punitive action by prison authorities or other inmates. The U.S. government has signaled its concern for the detainees' safety through policy measures. Just hours before the airstrikes began, Secretary of State Marco Rubio designated Iran as the first state sponsor of wrongful detention under a Trump-era executive order. The White House issued warnings of dire consequences for regimes that use American citizens as political pawns. These steps reflect ongoing diplomatic efforts to protect U.S. nationals abroad and emphasize the high priority given to the release and safety of detainees. Negotiations involving U.S. officials had previously included Reza Valazadeh's case, but those efforts were disrupted once the military strikes commenced. Advocates continue to press for urgent action to ensure the welfare of these Americans, emphasizing that diplomatic solutions and international pressure are critical in preventing further harm. Overall, the report illustrates the increasing vulnerability of U.S. detainees in Iran as military conflict intensifies. The combination of military strikes, potential reprisals, and poor prison conditions makes the situation particularly precarious. The U.S. government and advocacy groups are working to highlight the dangers and push for the safe release of these citizens. While the ongoing conflict complicates these efforts, the situation also underscores a broader challenge in international crises. Civilians and detainees can be caught in the crossfire of geopolitical conflicts. In this case, the detainees' prolonged detention, combined with sudden escalations in military activity, has created a high-risk environment with immediate and long-term threats to their health and safety. Officials and advocates continue to monitor the situation closely, emphasizing the importance of prioritizing the protection of human life, even as broader military and political conflicts unfold. The U.S. government's warnings to Iran signal that any harm to American detainees could have serious consequences for the Iranian regime, while advocacy groups push for diplomatic channels to be used urgently to safeguard those at greatest risk. This report highlights the intersection of international conflict, human rights concerns, and the complexities of protecting citizens in hostile environments. The ongoing airstrikes, combined with the long-standing risks associated with Evin prison, have created a tense and dangerous situation for American detainees. Their safety remains a critical concern for the U.S. government, family members, and advocacy organizations. My next news is, this news report focuses on recent statements by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt regarding the ongoing conflict in Iran and the potential for U.S. military escalation. Speaking during a Fox News interview, Levitt refused to rule out the possibility of a military draft or a ground invasion of Iran, stating that President Trump wisely does not remove options off the table. While she emphasized that such measures are not part of the current plan, her comments sparked widespread speculation and political backlash. Critics suggested that her refusal to rule out a draft could signal the potential for conscription in the future, raising concerns about the political and social consequences of expanding U.S. military involvement. The remarks drew sharp criticism from both progressive groups and members of the Republican Party. Former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene publicly condemned Levitt's comments, accusing the administration of betraying campaign promises to avoid foreign wars. Greene demanded a clear pledge of no draft and no boots on the ground, warning that some Republicans might consider expanding conscription even to women. Her criticism intensified inter-party divisions and framed the conflict as an America Last War, invoking personal states by referencing her own family. The context for these remarks is the ongoing Operation Epic Fury, a joint U.S.-Israel air campaign launched on February 28. The operation has already had a significant human and political toll. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was reportedly killed during the strikes, along with over 1,200 other casualties in Iran, according to Iranian state media. Retaliatory attacks have struck U.S. bases, resulting in the deaths of at least 7 American service members. The military campaign has also displaced hundreds of thousands of civilians, particularly in Lebanon, highlighting the severe humanitarian impact of the conflict. Levitt's comments highlight the uncertainty surrounding the U.S. approach to Iran. Military officials have indicated that larger waves of action may be forthcoming, suggesting that the campaign could progressively deepen into Iranian territory. This has raised fears that the conflict could escalate into a broader regional war if ground forces are deployed. Political analysts note that a draft could further strain domestic support, creating deep divisions within the United States at a sensitive time ahead of midterm elections. The report outlines several potential futures for the conflict. A full ground invasion of Iran could trigger a prolonged war across the Middle East, placing heavy demands on U.S. military resources and potentially increasing American casualties. In contrast, maintaining the current air and naval campaign might limit U.S. losses but could prolong regional instability, disrupt global oil markets, and invite continued Iranian retaliation. A third possible scenario involves rapid escalation followed by a negotiated settlement, although Iran's refusal to engage in talks makes such an outcome uncertain. Critics warn that any escalation could have profound humanitarian consequences. The combined effects of civilian displacement, infrastructure damage, and casualties could destabilize the region further. At the same time, U.S. officials continue to emphasize the importance of maintaining military options to protect American interests and allies, leaving the possibility of a draft or further escalation open in the public discourse. Overall, the report illustrates the high stakes of the current conflict in Iran. Levitt's comments, combined with the ongoing military campaign, have sparked both domestic political controversy and international concern. The situation remains fluid, with multiple potential outcomes depending on the decisions of U.S. and Israeli leaders, Iran's responses, and the broader geopolitical context in the Middle East. The report underscores the delicate balance between military strategy, domestic politics, and humanitarian considerations. As Operation Epic Fury continues, policymakers face the challenge of weighing the risks of escalation against the potential benefits of achieving strategic objectives, all while managing public perception and international pressure. The debate over a possible draft highlights how decisions about military engagement can reverberate far beyond the battlefield, affecting both American citizens and global stability. My next news is, this news report covers reactions from Cuba following statements by U.S. President Donald Trump during the recent Shield of the Americas summit in Florida. At the summit, Trump urged Latin American leaders to take military action against drug cartels and predicted the imminent collapse of the Cuban government. The gathering included more than a dozen leaders from countries across Latin America and focused on regional security, anti-cartel campaigns, and broader U.S. influence in the hemisphere. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel strongly criticized the summit, describing it as neo-colonial. He warned that the attendance of Latin American officials implied a commitment to accept U.S. military intervention in their country's internal affairs. Diaz-Canel's statements reflect long-standing tensions between Cuba and the United States, intensified by Trump's rhetoric predicting the last moments of the Cuban government. During the summit, Trump emphasized his administration's approach to combating organized crime across the Americas. He stated that the only way to defeat these enemies is by unleashing the power of our militaries, urging Latin American countries to act aggressively against drug cartels. Trump also suggested that change in Cuba was imminent, claiming that the Cuban government would soon collapse. These comments reinforced the administration's willingness to use military force as a tool in regional policy and anti-drug campaigns. The U.S. has already taken significant military actions in Latin America under the Trump administration. In the past 13.5 months, the U.S. conducted strikes against drug trafficking operations in the Eastern Pacific and Caribbean, which reportedly killed at least 150 people. Additionally, Washington has provided intelligence support to counter-cartel operations in Mexico and carried out joint missions with Ecuadorian forces. Certain drug cartels have even been labeled as foreign terrorist organizations, highlighting the U.S. framing of organized crime as a national security threat. The summit's discussions also referenced the Down Road Doctrine, a term the administration used to describe its approach to Latin America. The doctrine is modeled on the 19th-century Monroe Doctrine, which established the U.S. as the dominant power in the Western Hemisphere and sought to keep European powers out of regional affairs. The Trump administration's version emphasizes American authority in the region and justifies intervention if local governments cannot address security issues, especially related to drug trafficking. Cuba's domestic situation has been affected by multiple pressures. The country faces ongoing blackouts, disruptions to energy supply, and the threat of U.S. tariffs following the seizure of Venezuela's energy reserves in January. Humanitarian aid has been sent by several countries, including Canada, to help alleviate shortages, but residents continue to experience hardship. Trump's remarks at the summit, combined with the administration's policy of pressure and occasional easing of restrictions, illustrate the complex and tense dynamic between the two nations. The summit took place amid the broader context of escalating U.S.-Israeli military operations in the Middle East, particularly against Iran. While the meeting focused on Latin America, the ongoing conflicts in Iran and the wider region loomed over discussions, reinforcing the administration's focus on military readiness and strategic leverage. Overall, the report highlights the growing strain between the United States and Cuba, the U.S. push for anti-drug operations in Latin America, and the political and humanitarian implications of such aggressive policies. Cuban leaders condemned the summit as a threat to sovereignty, while Trump's statement signaled continued U.S. willingness to use military force to achieve strategic objectives in the region. The report illustrates the broader pattern of U.S. interventionist policies in Latin America, reflecting both historical doctrines and modern security concerns. Moving now to the next news. This news report discusses the recent spike in global oil prices and ongoing military developments involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. On Sunday, oil trading surpassed $100 per barrel for the first time in 4 years. Despite the significant increase, President Donald Trump downplayed the impact, calling the spike a small price to pay, and stating on Truth Social that oil prices would drop rapidly. The surge in oil prices comes amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. Iran recently announced the selection of Ayatollah Sayyid Mojtaba Khamenei as the country's new supreme leader. Mojtaba is the son of the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in U.S.-Israeli strikes the previous weekend. The election was carried out by Iran's 88-member Assembly of Experts, the clerical body responsible for choosing the nation's top leader. His selection brings certainty to Iran's leadership succession during a period of intense regional conflict. The conflict has also resulted in casualties. The U.S. military confirmed on Sunday that a 7th service member had died from injuries sustained in an Iranian attack on Saudi Arabia on March 1. The Pentagon reported that the soldier succumbed to injuries received during Iran's initial offensive against U.S. allies and facilities across the region. This announcement underscores the continued human cost of the ongoing military campaign. U.S. Central Command stated that Iranian forces have launched ballistic missile and drone strikes across central and western Iran, targeting areas near densely populated cities. These actions place civilians at risk and raise concerns that populated regions could become legitimate military targets under the rules of war. While it is unclear whether the U.S. will intensify its military campaign further, President Trump warned that targets previously off-limits were now under serious consideration for complete destruction and certain death. This indicates that the administration is preparing for potential escalations. The report notes several key developments in the conflict. A 7th U.S. service member died Saturday due to injuries from Iranian attacks the previous week. Countries including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait reported new Iranian strikes on Sunday. President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth denied responsibility for a recent strike on a girls' elementary school that killed at least 165 civilians. Trump claimed that the joint U.S.-Israeli military campaign had decimated Iran's military capabilities. Iranian officials, including Ali Larijani, threatened retaliation against the United States, but Trump dismissed these threats. Iranian state media reported attacks on oil facilities near Tehran and strikes on Isfahan, a major city connected to Iran's nuclear program. Israel conducted new military strikes in Lebanon early Sunday, expanding the geographical reach of the conflict. The situation highlights the broad regional impact of the conflict. Attacks on oil facilities and other critical infrastructure have contributed to global economic concerns, including the rise in oil prices. At the same time, the escalating military campaign has displaced civilians, increased regional instability, and prompted fears of further escalation. Overall, the report illustrates how military developments in the Middle East are directly affecting global markets and regional security. The combination of leadership changes in Iran, ongoing attacks by U.S. and Israeli forces, and Iranian retaliatory strikes has created a volatile environment. With the death toll rising and oil prices surging, the conflict continues to have serious humanitarian, economic, and geopolitical implications. The report emphasizes that the situation remains fluid. U.S. and Israeli forces are actively carrying out operations, while Iran has demonstrated its willingness to strike back. Civilian populations in affected areas face increased risk, and markets are reacting to the uncertainty. This combination of military, political, and economic factors underscores the complexity of the conflict and the challenges for global stability moving forward. That was my last news of the day. My next news is in the next video. And now I will make music. I am REMI DJALIS with news and entertainment from the Netherlands. On OKANO TV NL. REMI DJALIS with my news of the day.
You not a little youth, why you mess up the whole? Every day you shoot, but you baby lack food. Cops turn you down, but there's nothing you a do. Slap you in the face and rough you out too. Make you sleep on stone until you turn blue. You shooting at the hood, why you man got no clue? Them got many wars if you got something to prove. There is no old gunman, them all lost them juice. Them got many warnings, but they are refused. Big man, big man, big man, big man acting like little children, hanging at the bottle and them shooting their brethren. Big man acting like little children, smoke them ganja and them shooting them brother. Big man acting like little children, smoke them coke and them man lose control. Big man, big man. On the street you no speak, but at home your wife you beat. In the neighborhood you steal, that's the kind of life you lead. What me I say is you wishy-washy. Banks on the corner but you scared to see. Big man, big man, big man, big man acting like little children, hanging at the bar and them shooting them brethren. Big man acting like little children, smoke them ganja and them shooting them brother. Big man man acting like little children. Smoke them coke and them a lose control. Bad man a rob old woman. Bad man a chan bout man. If him rob him a rob a bank. Your king has no clothes. When I speak, they hear fall. Your king has no clothes. Y'all living like y'all don't know. Your king has no clothes. When I speak, they hear fall. Your king has no clothes. Y'all living like y'all don't know. You know what it's like to live in America, where every king is a clown and every court is a circle, where freedom is the mask that they hold in front of us. You know what it's like to live in America, where a pandemic's a party, where it looks like a movie, where you're born as a color, not a person with a body. Said you know what it's like to live in America. We're on the when I Your king has no clothes. When I speak, they hear a foe. Your king has no clothes. Yeah, living like I don't know. Eh, eh. Your king has no clothes. When I speak, they hear a foe. Eh. Your king has no clothes. Yeah, living like I don't know. Eh, eh. You know what it's like to live in America, where every king is a clown and every court is a santo. Where freedom is the mask that they hold in front of us. You know what it's like to live in America, where a pandemic's a party, where it looks like a movie, where you're born as a color, not a person with a body. Said you know what it's like to live in America, where we're on the news. Your king has no clothes. When I speak, they hear a foe. Your king has no clothes. Yeah, living like I don't know. Say you know what it's like to live in America, where other banks know my name and I like it that way. I sleep with them and talk up like the dodo days when my people were slave, when we didn't have to be saved. Now I can't walk down the streets without being afraid. You know what it's like to live in America. I got 2,000 people who look like me, who would die for me. Cause if you own, I will. 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 Said you know what it's like to live in America, where we're on the news.
Yeah. Someone got a bed, you know, go take it down when the phone is coming. Yeah. So I never know what to tell you. Come on up, yo.
Someone called me up for business. The story goes like this. Someone called me for a best. The story goes like this. We used to be brethren just like this. Or sometimes you.
How do the man say the bread man to the grey? I am on doing this one.
Someone call me for a best. The story goes like this. Used to be brethren like this, but sometimes you have to dismiss. Let me walk my path alone. Jaja will guide me home. Jah never disappoints me. Jah originally, Nami S-P-I-T, not do deliberately. Think you wanna hurt me? Yeah. Please, Jaja, call me. We all see them try to them that I'm ready now. But now rush, better wait it out. I'm stepping downtown, warning loud and clear. Keep your craziness there. Spitfire is next year. That's why I say, Jaja call me. Please me pray, don't fool me. We all see them try to fool me. That's why me say, Jaja call me. Don't fool me. Yes, this thing won't stop till it goes over the top. Things that you don't want to drop. For too long it was crap. Till it's pop, pop, pop. Every man think they are nuts, but you're not the only with nuts. Never think to come make a fuss, never fool me. Cha-cha, that's why me say, pull me. Can't you see them try to fool me? That's why me pray. Cool me. Me say Jaja hold me. Me say Jaja cool me. Jaja keep me.
Arigadum, bam, 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 bam. Arigadum, bam, 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 bam. Arigadum, bam, 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 bam. You're not a little youth, why you mess up the hood? Every day you shoot, but you baby lack food. Cops throw you down, but it's nothing you a do. Slap you in the face and rough you out too. Make you slip on stone until you turn blue. You're shooting at the hood, why your man got no clue? Them got many wars if you got something to prove. There is no old gunman, them all lost them juice. Them got many warnings, but they all refuse. Big man, big man, big man. Big man acting like little children. Hanging at the bottle and they're shooting their brethren. Big man acting like little children. Smoke them ganja and them shooting them brother. Big man acting like little children. Smoke them coke and them man lose control. Big man.
You not a little youth, why you mess up the old? Every Every day you shoot, but your baby lack food. Cops throw down you down, but there's nothing you a do. Slap you in the face and rough you out too. Make you sleep on stone until you turn blue. You shooting at the hood while your man got no clue. Them got many wars if you got something to prove. There is no old gunman, them all lost them Jews. Them got many warnings, but they all refuse.
Big man. Big man. Big man.
Big man acting like little children, hanging out the bottle and them shooting their brethren. Big man acting like little children, smoke them ganja and them shooting them brother. Big man acting like little children, smoke them coke and them man lose control. Big man, big man. On the street you no speak, but at home your wife you beat. In the neighborhood you steal, that's the kind of life you lead. What me I say is you wishy-washy. Banks on the corner, but you scared to see.
Big man. Big man. Big man.
Big man acting like little children, hanging at the bar and them shooting them bridges. Big man acting like little children, smoke them ganja and them shooting them brother. Big man acting like little children, smoke them coke and them all lose control. Bad man a rob all woman, bad man a chant about man. If him rob him a rob a van. Big man a chant Babylon. No man. Big man. Big man. man. Them try to teach a man while them a Satan. Jobless, jobless, them a Satan. Them a Satan, them a Satan, them a Satan. Them try to teach a man. I can't even move freely. Government watching me, saying that it's common policy. Why can't they just let I read? This government still not free. Them want run down, sit, man protected by the Almighty. They can never do nothing to me. Them a Satan, them a Satan, them a Satan. Them try to teach a man, them a yeah, man. Them try to teach a man while them a Satan. Right up. Jah bless them a Satan. Them a Satan. Them a Satan. Them try to teach a man. I can't even move freely. Government watching me, saying that it's common policy. Why can't they just let I be? This government still not free. Them want run down, sit, man protected by the Almighty. They can never do nothing to me. Them a Satan, them a Satan, them a Satan. Them try to teach a man, them and them call Satan. Them a Satan, them a Satan. Them try to teach a man.
another of my kind band. You would have what you buy on a new bonds, yeah. You all have what you buy. Ready up till the sun go rise. I keep my head up to the skies. No bad energy inside. We moving forward.
I can feel the rhythm in my soul. Taking over, losing all control. Underneath the neon lights we glow. Moving fast, we're never moving slow. calling out your name. In this world we'll never be the same.
Never be the same.
I can feel the rhythm in my soul, taking over, losing all control. Underneath the neon lights we glow, moving fast, we're never moving slow.
Every beat is calling out your name.